Hey everybody, welcome to That Damn Podcast. I am your host, Craig Duswalt, with my co-host, Mr. John Reese. Today we have another very special guest. We seem to be on a drummer kick. You see, my son's a drummer, so I kind of like drummers. I have these drummers. I love drummers. Anyway, we have a great one again today. Please welcome Bobby Alt.
What's up, everybody?
Sancho, what do you think?
Let's
And Craig,
go.
of course, forgot to mention Sancho.
I did.
You know,
I keep doing that.
The girls love Sancho, bro.
This is Sancho.
Yeah.
Sancho is our mascot.
Yeah, that's
this
right.
is John's son.
That's my son. That's my son. Wow, Bobby. I mean, what's amazing, Craig, is Bobby and I have such history together. And I just love him to death. He's one of my favorite people on this planet. First and foremost, he's an artist. He's an entrepreneur. But most importantly, he's a giving, amazing human being. And then at the top of the list is he's a fucking amazing dad.
Well, that's nice to hear. Yeah,
You know, we could sit here and talk for 5 hours, so we've got a limited amount of time, and let's just dive right into it, Bobby. You know, you have an incredible history. When we first met was, I think, in the 2002 Warped Tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something like that. I was managing the Used and Story of the Year, and Bobby was in this unbelievable band called Stun.
Yeah.
S.T.U.N.
Yes, it was an acronym.
What did it stand for?
Scream towards the uprising of nonconformity.
Wow!
Yeah, it was.
Talk to us about Stun and what went down and all of it, you know?
Yeah, Stun was my first go at my. You know, it was like when the band came together. And I had been in a lot of bands up till that, you know, trying to make it, doing the LA thing, playing my heart out. And I got a call from two friends. I got a call from my friend Chris and a call from my friend Nick. And they were like, hey, I know you're in like 5 bands, but like we got something really good going on here. And we met this crazy guy, Neil, and he's just got a great vision for this band, and we think you'd be perfect. So I was like, well, that sounds cool. Let me come check it out. And I went down, and it was like that Zeppelin story where we all got into the room, and it just all came together so perfectly. And I had a rehearsal space in downtown LA, and that became our, you know, every day for a year. And this guy Neil had this great vision for the band. He wrote all the lyrics. He had the look down. It was very serious band, and I liked that because I really wanted to be a professional drummer, and I wanted to do the whole thing. And then, you know, we put it all together, managers and attorneys, and we got the record deal. You know, we got the major label deal, and it was incredible. And then, you know, it's one of those VH1 stories, I guess, for me, where it just, you know, we did all the touring. I used all my networking, everybody we knew. We did the best tours with the Used and Manson and the Warped tours, and great management, Bino, one of my best friends, and everything was there. And the band fell apart. You know, it was whatever it was. I still can't really put my finger on it. You know, how it all just was so big. You know, we were in Japan, like they say, big in Japan. And we were in Rolling Stone magazine, and then it was nothing. Done. And we never, ever played again.
You know, and it's like, man, from when I left Guns N' Roses and, you know, got into management in '93 and started managing tons of artists, and, you know, 1 out of 1,000 makes it, man. It is the most difficult thing on the planet is starting and running a music festival, and secondly, breaking a band.
Right. Because
there's just so much competition and people's taste, and then you're bringing 4, 5, 3 personalities together that can cause issues. There's girlfriends, there's all these things, you know.
I think that's the hardest part, right? Is actually keeping the band together.
Yeah.
Because there's 3, 4, 5 personalities, like you said, and they have to jive all the time.
And I think for us, it was like our. You know, I was the drummer, and Nick, who was my best friend, was the bass player, and it was like we were ready to go. We're always ready to play, you know. And I think the singer and the guitar player, they just there was something that they couldn't get together to get, we were ready to make the second album. Everyone was stoked on what we did. Like you said, it's hard to get that far. We had all the best people. And then I went through a lot after that because I feel like I let all my team down because I brought the team together, and it was hard to come out of that, but I did with Street Drum Corps, and it's something that's still going to this day. So,
and your singer married Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah, he was married to her the whole time.
They're not together anymore.
No, it's been. I think they've been separated now for years, but they had beautiful boy.
This is Clueless?
I got a great quick sideways on it. You were there. So we had a house in Lake Havasu, and we invited the entire Warped Tour, and I think it was 2004, 5, or 6, and there were hundreds of people from the Warped Tour. We had 20 buses. Wow. All of them broke down. It was 120 degrees. Kevin Lyman and I rented, Gomez. We rented tons of jet skis. People crashed. It was insane. And I remember we were cooking the food, and she wouldn't let us put the burgers
because of vegan,
even though it was burned to shit. No animal could touch the vegan stuff. Anyway, that's just Alicia.
So
she was amazing.
And then she went on one of those shows like Conan or Letterman, or she was on one of those promoting a movie while we were on the Warped Tour, and she told the story of like being in the bus and being with us, being like with Stun on the.
Well, that movie that she made was one of the biggest movies.
Clueless, right?
All time,
Clueless. Yeah. It's massive. Still massive. And she was in all the Aerosmith videos. Hilarious.
She was such a
video vixen.
She's still a great friend, and she's such a big supporter of everything that I do, and she's always checking in on things. And same with Chris, her ex. We're always checking in on each other, and it's interesting because we just got a call to potentially reunite for the When We Were Young festival.
Yeah.
Still waiting for Sean to call me back. No, but
he'll be on the podcast coming up. Sean Akavon.
Yeah.
So Sean, where are we at? No, I had posted my daughter, who's 9. Wanted to see Stun, and so I pulled up some old videos, and I was showing, and I was like videotaping her reaction, and she looks at me, and it's right in the camera. She goes, "Dad, this is really good. You got to get the band back together."
I love it.
And she knows everything I do all day. She's my best friend.
Sure.
And it's like, we're probably not going to get the band back together, but I posted it, and then Sean wrote on there, "Would you?" Yeah. So I called the guys, and I was like, I've asked them for 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm the drummer. I'm like, let's get the band back together.
Right, yeah.
When Matt was telling the same stories, we just did a podcast a couple weeks ago with Matt. And it was getting bands together and working with singers. It's all a science for the drummer, man.
It's a science, and of course, I called Bino right away, and I was like, "Any advice? Like before I call the guys and stuff?" He's like, "Just throw it out there." He's like, "Because if you don't dance around it, don't try to play any game, just like straight up." So I did, and I called him, and everyone was like, "Cool, let's." So now we're waiting to see if this really is something that could happen. Wouldn't be for the money. Might be on a stage out by some, Porta Johns like I've always played. But it would be so fun to do it.
Let's make it happen. What was that quote that you sent me about your age? Like
you're never too old to be who you could have been.
What?
I live by.
Well, okay. Yeah. I'm a motivational speaker. I do these events.
Right.
That's mine. Yeah. I want that.
Take it.
He sent it to me, and you can be whatever you want to be, and you're never.
I think we've all reinvented our lives. How many times have we all reinvented our lives?
But I'm a big believer in that. That you're never too young. I've been told I became a speaker at 40 something years old.
Wow.
And my mother told me, "You can't be a speaker. You don't know how to speak." I'm like,
thanks, Mom.
Speaking right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that's what happens. People tell us what we can't do, why we can't do it, or it's already been done before. Give me an effing break. Are you kidding?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I love that quote. That's good.
And that was a friend of mine had told me that, and he's an older guy, and he makes movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And, he had said something in those, something like that to me. And it's always stuck with me because I feel like I haven't even gotten close to what I'm supposed to be doing.
And how old are you?
I'm turning 50 this year.
Oh my God! Where's the party?
You look good.
We're here in Palm Springs at the Sinatra.
Bobby.
You look great, dude.
Bobby is Sid Vicious reincarnated.
Yes.
The girls, like, they just would throw him themselves.
he's a
at
drummer.
and he's a damn sexy
That's why
guy.
I picked up drumsticks to begin with, to get the
what my
girls.
son
I was
said.
like, yeah,
Isn't that always?
Yeah, it was
Everyone
like-
always says it's the lead singer. No, it's a drummer.
No,
Everyone
and you
loves the
don't
drummer.
want. I mean, I don't know if your son's band has a lead singer with a girlfriend, but you don't want them to.
He has
You
a
got-
wife.
Oh well, then. Oh no. Yeah, it's one of those things where when you're young, you're just like, this. I know I can do this. I'm pretty
Yeah,
good at
yeah.
it, and maybe this girl I like will look at me if I at the school thing. And you know what? It worked.
It totally
so then
worked.
I kept doing it.
Let's talk about street drum corps. I mean, I was involved for many years with street drum corps. Magical. I mean, Jimmy, the legendary Jimmy Iovine, signs the band.
Great meeting.
You know,
Great meeting.
Great, unbelievable meeting.
Greenspan, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Christina Aguilera just had a baby. We gotta go. And then out walks Weezer. Remember, it was like
It was a revolving door of superstars. But
was awesome.
you know, on top of the fact that Bobby's an incredible drummer, he's also an amazing songwriter. He wrote with Street Drum Corps, and he got caught in just as most artists do. You know, I've had a number of Eveline. You remember the band Eveline?
yeah, great.
I've had a number of artists in my career that I've gotten signed and worked with that just for some fucked up reason it just didn't work. And that, you know, he's got hits that I tell him about every few months. It's like that song should be sold to somebody because it's that freaking.
And we
hit.
ended up getting rid of a couple of them. Some 41 bought one from us, and Marty Fredrickson, awesome songwriter I worked with. You know, he gave one to somebody, and like, you know, I got to work. I was a drummer, but I knew I could front. I knew I could sing. I knew I could.
He was
do
the
all
lead
these
singer
things.
in Street Drum Corps.
Yeah, ended up. You know, Jimmy Iovine was like, can somebody kind of front this? You know, I'm seeing all the drums and everything. Yeah, and I was like, okay, well, you know, he's like, and he kept looking at the video we were showing. It was kind of a presentation to him, and in that meeting, and he kept saying, well, who's that? And I've always had different haircuts and different styles, and he's like, I was like, well, that's me. He's like, and then who's that? And that's me. And then he goes, okay, hold on, guys. Let's get Trent on the phone. Trent Reznor.
Oh, yeah.
Literally in the meeting.
In the meeting. So he calls up Trent. Trent's on the phone. You know, they're talking. I got these drummer guys here, and I think that the record should be produced by you.
Wow.
And then he's like, hey Ryan, get Dre on the phone. This really
Literally
truly happened.
happened in the meeting called Dr.
So
Dre.
Dre comes on. So we've got all of us sitting there. We've got Trent and Dre.
Wow.
And he's like, they should produce your record together. And still to this day, I'd still like to make that record. It didn't happen because Beats happened, American Idol, like you said. All these things happened. And, you know, we
And your A&R guy got fired.
Yes, Ryan, our
Yeah.
main cheerleader, got
Yeah.
fired. We ended up having 3 guys after that. And that's the system, right?
That's the system.
And that's what happens. It's not even about the talent, right?
No,
It's
and-
not about the talent. It's not about the song sometimes. It's about the crap that happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, and so we
Yeah.
ended up doing a lot on our own with John, you know.
I mean, you toured with 30 Seconds to Mars all throughout Europe. Did a bunch
man.
of
That's
amazing
great.
things at the
Crazy
height of 30 Seconds to
yeah,
Mars.
this was
too.
we were doing the biggest shows.
That's
it was
great.
all throughout Europe.
It was probably one of the greatest times of my life. I had just met my ex-wife now, but
Okay.
I just met her. It was just it was just so special. It was
and you have that. We were just talking a couple of weeks ago with Matt, you know, and we have the memories. If nothing else,
Yes.
we have the coolest memories. How many
Yeah.
people outside of this world did what you did?
No,
right?
and that's something I was thinking on the way here when I was listening to what's the band name?
Of That Nature.
Of That Nature. I was just listening to them going, this is amazing, and we do have those memories, and it is so special when you can get a couple guys together,
Yeah.
girls, whatever, and do bands.
Yeah.
Do bands, everybody.
bands.
Do bands.
Yeah.
Do it until you can't.
I love it.
You just do it.
You know, and look,
fun.
I've been blessed, right? I mean, I got to start. My first show was Led Zeppelin in 1976. Okay,
My favorite
That
of
was
all
my
time.
first show I ever saw.
That's why
at
I play.
Arizona State University. And at that moment in time, I chose music, and you know, all security in the '80s, and then the '90s, Guns N' Roses, the biggest thing. I'm 28 years old, with flying
Can you
around in a
imagine?
fucking massive private airliner, playing hundreds of stadiums
Yeah.
all over the planet.
being Zeppelin, like what you wanted.
And it just, so it's so refreshing. Craig and I manage 3 bands of that nature, Chain Saint and Thredge.
And I've heard them all, and I'm just so excited for all this.
We are too.
Yeah.
But I dug my toes deep into EDM, obviously, Lost Lands,
I love
and
it. I love
a
me
lot
some
of
Skrillex.
big stuff that I did in EDM. It's so refreshing to see kids play instruments.
Yeah, thank God.
Instead of no disrespect to EDM.
No, we love that.
No disrespect, but it's not a backpack and a flight with one guy it's actual. That coming together.
Yes.
And it's work. We like to do the work.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of work involved.
So lots of work.
So
Street Drum Corps has played, how many theme parks do you do now? And talk about it, because Street Drum Corps Craig, is a band.
Yeah.
And they're a troupe. They're also a business. That's what I love about Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby is an
Entrepreneur.
no, he's an art troupe.
Oh, did you guys just coin that?
Shit. I just coined that. Bobby is an
entrepreneur.
Forget
that
about
might be
talking
my
about
new
his pizza place.
Yeah, we
Bobby's Pizza.
You didn't even write Bobby's Pizza.
No,
it's on there. It's on there.
No, we added that. Bobby's Pizza.
Our co-host is acting up, guys. Sorry, be quiet.
He
Sancho.
wants the squeaky
Come here,
ball.
Sancho. Sancho, get over here.
He wants the squeaky ball.
He can have his time
but
too.
the squeaky ball will squeak.
His head. Okay. We don't really run by a script here. That's that damn podcast.
I mean,
we have dogs, squeaky balls. We have a band, Threads playing next door. We don't care.
I love it.
It's that damn podcast.
Yeah, this
Listen
is
to that
pretty
damn
much my
podcast.
life. I don't know what I'm getting myself into half the time, but I come and I do it.
There you go. And that's
I show up,
right?
I show up.
Bam.
You got to show up.
You got to show up in life.
Yeah,
everything.
you got to show
So
up.
let's get back on point.
Yeah, let's
here.
get back on point.
Okay, so
Street
talk
Drum
about
Corps.
the parks that you do and
Yeah.
that immersive kind of art of just dudes playing trash cans and kegs.
Yeah,
and
after
people gathering around them and that drum circle, and also what you do with your brother, the sound bath stuff.
Oh yeah, after Stun ended, I was really upset because we put so much time and effort into it and so much, and someone, my friend Marco, said to me, well, why don't you and your brother, when you guys are doing your drum circles, it's so magical, how can you turn that into something? And I said, oh boy, yeah, right, a bunch of drummers, how do we do that? But Stomp was popular, and Blue Man Group was popular, and of course street performers, street drummers, and absolutely took from all those things. And after Stun, I said, I have to be in control now. Yeah. I can't be the drummer waiting for a song to be written. I have more to do, and no disrespect to the bands and that vibe, but I have to go off on my own and I have to figure something out. So my brother and I, we got a call from Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction. We're the biggest fans of Jane's Addiction and Stephen, and he said, hey, he had met us through Stun and all these things that we were doing in the drum community, and he said, hey, I do this camp in Malibu and I got to go out on tour and I think you guys could help. It was a camp for people with disabilities. And Adam and I said, yeah, we'll take it over, because we used to go and watch him, and he would host these drum circles for these kids as part of a summer program. So that's kind of how it started. Adam and I would go and we'd bring friends and we would drum for these kids, and then we kept getting the calls from the people from the Camp Joan Myers saying it was everyone's favorite thing of the summer when they would ask, what was your favorite thing? So we kept doing that for years, and that kind of built into this little drum show. But we called it Bobby and Adam Alt's drum experiment, because we never really knew what we were going to do, and we wanted to make something that wasn't scripted, kind of like what we just talked about with the show. So we would go up there, we would put a stage or wherever we were with a bunch of instruments, and Adam and I would look at each other and we would just do it. Nothing was rehearsed. Then we met another guy, our partner Frank,
who's now in Sum 41.
He's a drummer in Sum 41.
Frank Zuma.
Yep, best partner I ever had.
Shout out to Frank Zuma.
Frankie.
You're short in stature but massive in everything else.
Massive. One of my, I did, 17, 18 years as him being my partner, and incredible guy. And so, we met him through friends and all this. And then he was like, oh, I work in the theme park industry in New York and New Jersey. And what you and Adam are doing, with the concerts and the Warped Tour, and all this. And so we put together a reel. We played a bunch of junk. And then, that was kind of what happened.
I saw it, and I just freaked out.
Yeah.
And we put them on the Warped Tour. We put them on the
Yeah.
They played in front of millions of people.
Yeah.
They
Millions.
do EDC.
Yeah.
I mean,
we
they
still
are a
work with Insomniac
featured-
to this day.
The featured,
That's our biggest account is Insomniac. To
So
this
they do
day.
all of the EDC stuff. And
Yeah,
how many theme parks have...
So we do now. The fairs are what really took over.
Oh, yeah.
So we do about 10 to 12 state fairs throughout the United States every summer and fall.
That's great.
We do theme parks. I've actually dipped a little because theme parks, they change every 5 years. So that's actually what I'm going after this year. We're upping our theme park experience. It's called Blood Drums. So
That's a whole side thing.
yeah, it's another little side thing that we do through Street Drum Corps.
Entrepreneur. That's what my man is.
Entrepreneur. And honestly, it's not even like these things that are that thought out, but it's like I'll say something, and then my brother and at the time Frank, and we'll just do it, and we'll call people. We'll annoy John all day and Sean and Lyman. I mean, my God, what they must think about us, because we're not. It's not like we're Justin Bieber. So we're calling and we're saying, we play trash, please put us on your thing. But when John walked, I remember where we were the day he walked up and he said, I want to work with you guys. Like, I want to help you guys out. And for me, knowing John, working with the Used, I was so obsessed with the Used and what they were doing, because they were like Zeppelin to us.
The Used were on such
They
a
were on
fire.
fire. Yeah.
And they were doing everything. And I remember one day, it was the end of the Warped Tour, and I was sitting there with my band Stun. We were probably just about to break up at the time, and I see John and Bert and everybody. We were best friends with that band, and John walks up with like these envelopes of like cash from like merch money, and he's like handing them all. It's like the end of the tour. Yeah, he's like handing them this cash, and I'm just going, man,
Son of a
bitch. I'm like, I think we paid to be on that tour, somehow. But when John walked up to Street Drum Corps, and I knew it was genuine, because I always said I didn't want to be the kid that was like knocking on everyone's door, like, pick me, pick me, pick me. So when John was like, that's badass, I knew we had won at that moment.
And John just knocks on the door.
Yeah,
John knows everybody.
And then it all happened. There were so many things, because you need a team, you need management,
100%.
You need it all. And I think that's something I've built over the years, genuinely. But when your team is there, you gotta rock. You gotta show up. You gotta do the work.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
And we're gonna touch on it in this this episode, but that's why Bobby had to be on Breaking Into Music. May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Palm Springs, where we're bringing together 24 of the most incredible mentors to help people. There is no Music U. There's the School of Hard Knocks in music, and now we're gonna hopefully, sharpen that edge and give people the ability to reach out and touch people like Bobby, who's maybe his first band didn't make it, but dude found a way.
But that's that's the key to what I think we're bringing.
That's what we're bringing.
Breaking Into Music. You found a way. Okay, Stun did very, very well. You're on these huge tours.
Better than all my other friends.
You
that
pivoted, and I hate using that word, but you pivoted. You did something different, and now you found another way to stay in the music industry.
Yes.
So let's talk about
toured with Rod
that.
Stewart.
That was a fun one.
Let's talk about the legend that is Rod Stewart.
Oh my God, that's the best.
Actually,
and Rod Stewart, that was through Caroline. That's one of those great things where I got a call. Caroline's like the most connected girl. She does so many great
Pizza
things.
Girl. Shout out to Pizza Girl.
Shout out to Pizza Girl, taking over the world. We love it. I got a call. So Rod Stewart is looking for a tour manager. And Caroline was working with Rod Stewart's manager, Arnold Stiefel. And they need somebody out there on the road that's been in a band that has, toured the world and everything, that could help tour manage and bring the band and the crew together. So it was almost like a mission that I had. And I was like, what? And I just had Bella, she was like 2, and I'm like, go out on the road, what? And then they sent me like the offer, and I was like, oh, yeah. Yes. And it was like, it's everything you'd think. It was Rod Stewart. It's 5-star, hotels and private jets. And I'd never tour managed. I'd had tour managers. So I called all my old tour managers and I said, what do I do? And I hired an assistant and we put it all together. And there was like 13 crew and band that I was in charge of. Wow. And Rod was fucking awesome. Yeah. He's the only boss I've had.
He's an incredible guy.
I've never had a boss. I've always kind of been my own boss.
If I told you lately that I love you.
You have. You actually have. I have so many Rod stories. We might have to come back again. We might have to come back again and talk more about Rod. Because that's a whole episode.
How about that pandemic thing that we did? The Harmony
Bluff.
So a buddy of mine bought a big piece of land right on the ocean. Wealthy guy, amazing human being, him and his brother. And he was looking for talent to perform at it. He basically, the pandemic year 2020, Burning Man was off, and he was a burner, and so were all of his friends. So he bought the most beautiful property on the planet. It's just south of Cambria, just north of Cayucas or whatever. Right. And he flew everybody in his jet, then flew everybody to San Luis Obispo, flew them from San Luis Obispo in a helicopter to the site, invited 70 of his best
John's
best
like, we got a gig for Street Drum Corps, you're going to do your sound bath, you're going to play, there's a private jet and a helicopter.
That's all you need to know.
And he's like, I'm in. I'm in. And that's the first time I ever did mushrooms.
Wow.
That's the first time.
And that night we were on this.
Oh my God!
You had like a Can-Am. What is it called?
Yeah.
And we were racing this thing to the edge.
Well, I wasn't doing mushrooms when I was doing that.
No, this was like we were just racing this thing around.
Kids don't.
We'll get to the mushroom scene. And we were just racing this thing around, and we were living the dream and playing music, and there was like a dance party. And then at the very end of the night, everything mellowed out. And people were doing their thing, and
And so I was wearing this tie-dye. So I was wearing this tie-dye outfit,
right?
Like this, like it was like similar. It might have been.
And I took some mushrooms. I'd never done it. I want to try it.
Right.
Greatest experience in my life. But I literally...
He lost control of his body.
I lost control of my body.
Oh, really?
Bobby could not get me up. I was laying in front. He got us all trailers. I was literally laying in the ground. He tried for an hour to get me up.
We were sharing I
took too many mushrooms.
Yeah, we were sharing a one of those trailers. It was like where we slept.
Sure.
And we were hanging out and everything, and it was just John and I. We were like the last ones up, you know. And
thank God,
and everybody was asleep in there. Adam, my brother, heard it too. He heard me, and I was like,
his ass didn't come help.
No, he was asleep. He was in there.
His ass didn't come help.
He was like, I hear you guys. I'm not dealing with this. So there's these like 3 steps to get into this like aluminum like trailer, one of those star trailer things.
I know.
And John just couldn't get up those stairs. Yeah. And he's in this tie-dye thing, and it's like deserty, dirt.
Co-host, be quiet.
Yeah, he's like, And I'm like, John, I'm not leaving you out here in this dirt. And John,
I'm like, just let me sleep here.
And I'm like, I'm not like a little. Yeah, he's like, let me sleep here. And his bed was only right.
I just couldn't get it.
It was right to the corner.
All right, just like the hills, check please.
Wait, no. Do we have pictures of this?
No.
No, there would just imagine like a tie-dyed John Reese. And you know what? I don't know. I ended up having. It's like one of the moms can lift the car off their kid.
Yes.
I got John into his bed. And the mission. Right. That was the mission.
Love you, Bobby. Yeah. Love you, Bobby. Let's talk about your movie.
Oh boy!
I mean, entrepreneur. This guy
movie.
Yeah,
I don't even know about this.
Yeah, so it kind of relates to the Rod Stewart thing, where I was out on tour. I just had a daughter. I had produced this thing with Street Drum Corps called Scared in Jersey with Live Nation in New Jersey. It was a big theme park, and I said, I'm done being like the drummer that gets hired to entertain the king. Like how do I become John Reese and Kevin Lyman? How do I be the guy that can like give the jobs and like hire all my friends and stuff. I said, so we and you know, all the work that we did at all the theme parks I had learned with blood drums. So being in the theme park world, we put together a big maze. And it was amazing. Live Nation gave us like $1.5 million, me, you know?
Yeah.
Like the biggest, you know, chunk of change we ever got.
Yeah, baby.
And we hired some people and we did this big event. And it was incredible. But I was like, I think I could tap into this a little more. Being born and raised in New Jersey, our legend is the Jersey Devil. It's kind of like the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot or something.
Yes.
Our
I'm
hockey
from
team
New York.
is the Jersey Devils,
yeah,
you know, right?
I do.
So I had this idea, well, I'm going to make a movie. I'm going to make a movie called The Jersey Devil. It's not going to be supernatural. I'm going to put a spin on it. So I just had this idea. And after I went on the Rod Stewart tour, I was like, I can't tour anymore. I don't want to miss my daughter's life.
Yes.
Like, I just can't. I know that I was put on this earth to drum. I know it deep in my soul, but I got to take a break from this right now. So I started writing a treatment to the Jersey Devil Mischief Night, and this is about 2017. And I just kind of had it sitting in my notes. And then I was at school one day for my daughter, and I met this guy who's now one of my best friends, Manuel Pica, and we started talking. He's written movies and directed and done all this stuff, and he said, why don't I come over? I want to hear about this idea. We started chatting, you know, outside the school. Our daughters became good friends. He had just moved here from Italy, and my daughter was like helping his daughter like with English. And I wrote the treatment. Manuel was like, well, now we got the treatment. Can I help you write it? And I said, no, I really have to do this myself. And that didn't work. So I called him back up, and I was like, so I wrote a movie called The Jersey Devil Mischief Night. And I just finished my proof of concept. So I went and shot it. First time director, first time writer. I got it all together, got all these great people to be a part of it. And now I'm leaving for Sundance on Thursday.
Bam! That was your high five. I just can't reach you.
Well, I got you.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
And you know, it's everything we've talked about. Here.
Love that.
It came out of, well, you've never directed anything, so what are you going to do? You've never written anything, so yeah, it probably wouldn't work. Oh, LA, you know, you're not going to be able to get this made. Someone will just maybe buy it off you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This is going to be the next 10 to 20 years of my life. You know, and
Sancho thinks it's a good idea.
He knows. Yeah. So it's exciting, but I don't know how to sell a movie, but I didn't know how to sell a band either.
That's right.
And I got multi-million-dollar record
Figure
deals.
it out. Yeah.
So-
that deserves another one.
So, you know, it's really exciting for me, and I did direct it, and it was fun. Yeah, this is how he contributes.
You're
You're gonna get fired.
You were so good the first show.
Yeah, you're getting fired on the next episode.
Well, maybe not give him a squeaky toy next time.
I know. Can you grab him another toy? We actually do have a producer. Rawl of the Dead's our producer.
Rawl's our producer.
Yeah.
Maybe even just take him.
I love it.
So wait. So is this in the can? It's done?
So the proof of concept is done, which is basically like a trailer.
Okay.
So when I go to Sundance, I'm screening at some parties, and you know, I've even talked to John.
Raul.
You know, some people that, you know, I made a budget.
Yeah.
The budget's $3 million. Nice. I took a couple meetings. Took a meeting with.
I worked with Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
I put together, we hooked him up with some different
Yeah.
things.
So you know, I'm taking meetings, but there's a time where, and this is kind of like the breaking into the scene, the music, you know, there's a time where you have to cut it off. Like I can ask for advice all day long. Hey, what did you do? How do you think? But there's a time when you've got to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm at that time right now where everyone's given me enough, you know, that should be blue, not red. Right. Or maybe it could be scarier right here. Or maybe it's like, maybe fuck off.
Right.
Right now.
Maybe.
Maybe just maybe I love you, and you've made like hundreds of millions of dollars, but like fuck.
Yeah.
So
otherwise, you're just gonna keep listening.
it's just this,
and never get done.
But also that's from fear too, like
Of course.
where I'm in that area where I'm fearing, like I don't fear that I can't do it. It's just like, how do you get it? How does somebody write me that check? But I've been written those checks, so it's just different now.
It's all mindset. I'm in this world. My son Tyler, my oldest son Tyler, we're all writing a movie as a family. We're starting a production company,
Amazing.
and we're shooting a film.
I just need $3 million.
called Cul-de-sac.
Oh, I love that.
And it's all about what goes on in
You
the
just gave the
cul-de-sac.
title away.
I did.
Oh, no.
well.
We copyrighted it.
Okay, good.
Okay,
smart,
good.
smart.
I love that. That reminds me of like The Suburbs with like
Yes,
Tom
the
Hanks,
Burbs.
like The Burbs. Yeah.
Ours is what's that? Grown Ups.
Grown Ups
meets
Oh, I love it.
the Burbs.
And isn't that fun? And you should.
And
And,
it-
it's in your head. You got to get it out.
Yeah,
You
and
gotta
it just and my son is a film student. Went to TCU, and we've been sitting on this for a long time.
Yeah.
and now we're doing something.
Oh,
about
that's
it.
great.
Yeah.
And isn't that exciting? Because that's where the
makes
fire
it
is making
exciting
it.
for the family.
Yeah.
You know, John and I are doing the damn thing. You know, because that's why we have that damn podcast.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyway,
man, I mean, this time has flown. We're almost at the end of the episode, and God, I could sit and talk to Bobby the rest of my life.
And we're
It's
going to
such a
tonight for
pleasure.
dinner.
We're going
right?
to. He's coming.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah,
Well, we
you
got
too.
one more. We got one more thing to talk about. Bobby has the best pizza shop in Hollywood.
Yeah.
On the
New
third
York pizza.
On
Yep.
third.
Yeah.
Is it New York pizza?
For,
Yeah.
for Black Craft, he made pentagram pizzas.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Raul, our producer
Yeah,
Raul,
you were
your
there.
dad knows, was there.
Yeah.
But he made pentagram pizzas. Unbelievable.
And I'm
But
talking to Bobby about
Bobby's
doing some more
Pizzeria.
stuff. Yeah.
Bobby's
Where is
Pizzeria.
it? Bobby's Pizzeria.
We're 8369 West 3rd Street, Los
Oh,
Angeles.
I know
So
it.
we're right in between the Grove and the Beverly Center.
Nice.
Yeah, we're
I used to
open-
work at Robert's French restaurant on 3rd and something like that.
Is that
I
like
don't know.
Robertson? I feel like I've heard
No,
of that
not
place,
Robert.
yeah.
I forget. But I was right around that area. Great
We're-
area.
Yeah, we're open till 4 a.m., which is unlike
Smart.
most places. So we do.
I gotta have some Bobby's Pizza. I'm a New York
Yeah,
pizza
well,
guy.
maybe maybe I could be a sponsor of all
You know
this.
what? Sponsored by Bobby's Pizza.
Well, I just need some. I'm working on a frozen pizza line right now. So,
Oh, hell yeah.
So
There's a lot of margin in pizza, bro.
Pizza's
Oh
one
my
of the
God.
biggest sellers out there,
Yes.
and you know, it's easy for me like to come to Palm Springs where we're at. It's 2 hours away. I could bring a bunch of frozen pizzas, but I'm just
There's no good pizza out here. I'm telling
No,
you.
I drove down the strip.
We'll talk after the
Yeah.
podcast. Anyway,
Yeah.
look, you know, this breaking into the music industry, Bobby's going to be one of our mentors. He's somebody that everybody needs to hear. He's been through the fucking ringer and come out of it because you can be anything
Yeah,
that you want to be. You just got to go get it.
yeah. You just gotta go get it.
You just got to go get it. Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it. We got to do another one with you down
you're
the line.
awesome, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
And
Thanks for
we're going to
having
have
me.
a wonderful night tonight. We're going to go, we got a nice fire pit outside and, you know, maybe some other fun stuff. It's going to be beautiful.
Maybe the tie-dye scorpion was gonna come out
I
again.
doubt that's going to happen.
And if you'd like to be a guest on That Damn Podcast, please send a check for $1 million.
$3 million. Bobby needs $3 million.
I need.
Oh, $3 million.
Well, I'm reworking the budget, so maybe 1.5.
You should
we
talk
could
to
do it
Raul.
for, yeah.
Seriously. After the
Okay.
podcast, you guys
Okay.
talk. Anyway, you can be anything you want to be, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Bobby, appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you,
Love
guys.
you with all my heart.
Fun
We'll
to
see you
talk.
May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yes.
In Palm Springs at Indio. By the way, right next to the Coachella grounds. It's going to be epic,
Magic.
you guys.
It's a vortex.
It is a vortex.
That's a vortex.
That's it. Episode
We're out.
2 in the can. We out. Sancho, you were a bad dog.